My parents faked illness to skip my birthday, but were secretly on vacation with my sister. So with one cold move, I left their perfect lives in ruins. I accidentally found out about a secret family vacation without me on my birthday. "Tell him we're sick. This loser will believe us," Mom said to my uncle a week later. Mom begged. "If you had asked me years ago if something like this would ever happen to me, I would have laughed." Sure, my parents weren't perfect. They had their favorites, and yes, my sister was always the golden child. But I never thought they would lie to me outright. I never thought they would intentionally leave me out of a family event. I grew up believing in family first. That's what my parents always drilled into us. No matter what happens, we take care of each other. That's why I never hesitated to help them out when they were struggling financially. That's why I never questioned picking up their mortgage when they were about to lose their house. I just did it because that's what family does. But now, I wasn't even worth an invitation. I wasn't even supposed to know. If my uncle hadn't slipped up, I would have spent my 40th birthday thinking my parents were home, too sick to celebrate with me. That's the excuse they gave me. They made it sound serious. Mom even faked a cough over the phone when I called to check on them. "It's just bad timing, honey. We feel terrible about missing your big day, but we'd just be a burden if we came and made everyone sick," she said. And I believed her. I didn't even question her. That's how much faith I had left in her, even after years of being an afterthought in my own family. But then my uncle had one too many drinks at my birthday dinner, and suddenly, the truth came out. He didn't mean to say it. As soon as the words came out of his mouth, his whole face changed, as if he wanted to take them back. But it was too late. I had heard everything, while I was sitting in a restaurant with him, my cousin, and a handful of friends celebrating my 40th birthday without my parents. They weren't sick at home. They were on vacation, a family vacation with my sister, her husband, and their children. All of them together in a beautiful, sunny, tropical place, while I sat there like an idiot thinking they were bedridden. The worst part? It wasn't a last-minute trip. It had been planned for months. They had made this decision on purpose, knowing full well that my birthday was coming up. I felt sick, but it wasn't until my uncle kept apologizing, stumbling over his words, that he accidentally let one last thing slip. "Tell him we're sick. This loser will believe us." That loser. Me. My mother had actually said that about me. I sat there clutching my glass, feeling like my whole life had been one big joke to her. I had spent years putting up with her favoritism, her dismissiveness, her constant attitude that my sister's life was somehow more valid than mine because she was married with kids. And the irony, the thing that made it all so much worse, was that I was paying her damn mortgage every single month. I was the one making sure they had a roof over their heads. My sister didn't contribute a dime. Her perfect little family didn't lift a finger. It was all on me, the loser son. And where were they when I turned 40? Sipping cocktails on a beach, probably laughing at how easily I bought their lie. I swallowed hard and forced a smile for the rest of the dinner, but something inside me cracked. A part of me that had held on to the idea of family first finally broke. They had made it clear where I stood in their lives. Now it was my turn. I barely slept that night. I played it over and over in my head, the lie, the vacation, my mother calling me a loser. I wanted to believe there was an explanation, something that would make it hurt less. But there wasn't. By morning, I wasn't sad anymore. I was done. For years, I had endured their favoritism. I had swallowed every insult disguised as a joke, every dismissal of my accomplishments, every reminder that I was somehow less because I wasn't married with kids like Linda. I had convinced myself that that was just the way they were, that family was family, and I had to accept it, not anymore. I sat down with my laptop, pulled up my bank account, and with one click, I stopped paying their mortgage. Just like that. Their golden son-in-law could handle it now. I didn't say a word to them. I didn't call. I didn't text. I went about my life as usual, waiting to see how long it would take them to realize the money wasn't coming in. I didn't have to wait long. Exactly 1 week later, my phone exploded with missed calls and texts from my mom, my dad, and, surprise, Linda. I ignored them all. Then, just as I was about to block them, someone knocked on my door. I knew it before I opened it. There they were, my parents, standing on my porch looking furious. My mom's arms were crossed, and my dad looked like he had just eaten something sour. "Mark," my mom started, her voice full of fake sweetness, "we need to talk." I let out a breath and leaned against the doorframe. "Yeah." "About what?" She blinked, like she couldn't believe I'd actually made her say it. "We noticed the mortgage payment didn't go through this month. Must have been a mistake, right?" I smiled. No mistake. I'm just not paying it anymore. The look on their faces was priceless. My father stepped forward. Mark, we thought you understood. Family takes care of each other. I laughed, really laughed. Family looking out for each other? That was rich coming from them. You mean like the way you took care of me on my birthday? I said. Silence. My mom's face twisted. Oh, come on, Mark. You're really mad about that? It wasn't personal. You just didn't care enough to include me, I cut in, or tell me the truth, or even come up with a better excuse than tell the loser we're sick. My mom visibly flinched, so she knew I knew. My dad tried to intervene. Look, son, it was just a little vacation. You don't even like that kind of trip. We thought you'd rather do your own thing. I nodded slowly. Yes, I did my own thing. I celebrated my birthday without my family. And guess what? It made me realize something. My mom narrowed her eyes. What? I don't owe you anything. The air shifted. Just like that, the sweetness was gone. My mom's face hardened, and my dad's mouth tightened. You're being ridiculous, my mother snapped. We need the money. I shrugged. Not my problem. Her voice went up an octave. Oh, so you're just going to let us lose the house after all we've done for you? I raised an eyebrow. Like what? No answer. Because the truth was, they hadn't done anything for me in years. Then the real bomb dropped. Linda stormed up the porch, her perfect little family waiting in the car behind her. She looked furious. What the hell is wrong with you, Mark? She snapped. Mom and Dad are struggling, and you're just going to cut them off like this? I crossed my arms. Yeah, pretty much, she scoffed. God, you're so selfish. Just because you're bitter about your birthday, you screw over our parents. I smiled. Hey, Linda, who's been paying the mortgage for the last 5 years? Her mouth opened, then closed. She didn't know. I laughed. Yes, while you were on vacation with them, I was the one keeping their house from being foreclosed on. But since I'm such a loser with no real family, I figure I should save my money for myself. You know, for when I finally become a real adult. Linda turned to my parents, looking really confused. Wait, Mark was paying your mortgage? My mom looked away. That's when it hit Linda. She had been their favorite for nothing. She wasn't special, she wasn't chosen, she was just more comfortable than me. And now, she had to make up for it. Linda just stood there, her face turning pale. She realized things. The math was doing the math. You never told me this, she finally said, looking at our parents. My mom waved her hand like it was no big deal. Linda, honey, it's not something we had to burden you with. I almost laughed. Burden her? But not me. Linda turned back to me, her tone different now. Wait, so when you say you're done paying, you mean forever? Yes, I said. Your turn. Panic flickered across her face. I can't afford this. We just bought a new car, and we're planning a Disney trip for the kids. My father spoke up. Mark, be reasonable. Linda has a family to take care of. She can't take on that kind of financial responsibility overnight. Oh, but I could. I stared at them, finally seeing them for what they were. The manipulation, the guilt trips, the way they expected me to just roll over like I always did. Not this time. Not my problem, I said again because it felt so good to say it. Linda's jaw clenched, and for a second I thought she was going to throw a tantrum. Then she did something I didn't expect. She turned back to my parents and snapped, "Why the hell didn't you ever ask me for help?" I blinked. Oh. I expected her to be angry with me, to gang up on me, but instead she was mad at them. My mom let out a dramatic sigh. Honey, you have your own life. We didn't want to stress you out. But you put it on Mark, Linda shot back. You just let him pay for everything while you lied to me about it. Now she was screaming. My parents weren't prepared for this. They had never seen Linda turn against them before. She was supposed to be their golden child, their perfect daughter. But now she looked like she was rethinking everything. You always told me that Mark was the selfish one, she said, her voice shaking, that he didn't understand real responsibility, that I was the one who had to keep the family together. She looked at me, really looked at me. But all this time I was just what? The favorite because I didn't cost you anything? My mother tried to grab her arm. Honey, don't be dramatic. Linda pulled away. My dad sighed. Look, Linda, we just thought. No, she snapped. I don't want to hear it. Then she turned back to me. And then came the most unexpected part of the evening. Mark, she said, rubbing her temple. I don't even know where to start, but I'm sorry. I really had no idea. I just stared at her. I had never heard her say those words in my life. Before I could even process it, she let out a humorless laugh. You know what, Mom, Dad? Figure it out yourself because I'm not paying for your damn house either. I swear I almost fell over. And for the first time ever, my parents looked scared. For a second, no one spoke. My parents looked frozen, as if their entire world had just collapsed beneath them. Linda, their golden child, the one they had spent years putting on a pedestal above me, had just walked away from them too. I should have felt some sort of satisfaction, some kind of victory, but honestly, I was just tired. "You can't be serious," my mother finally stammered, looking at Linda. "Honey, don't say things you don't mean," Linda scoffed. "Oh, I mean it. I'm not bailing you out. You should have thought of that before you screwed over the one person who was actually trying to help you." I couldn't believe it. Was I dreaming? My dad stepped forward, trying to salvage what little control they had left. "Linda, don't let Mark manipulate you. He's always been jealous of you. He's enjoying this." I cut him off. Yeah, I really enjoyed being lied to on my birthday. My mom's eyes darted between us, her hands shaking now. Good. Let her feel a fraction of the stress I had been under for years. "You're our children," she pleaded. "You can't just leave us like this." Linda laughed, really laughed. "Oh, but you could abandon Mark on his 40th birthday because he's not married with children? Because he's less important?" They had no answer. That's when Linda's husband, Jake, rolled down the window of their car and yelled, "Hey, are we going or what?" Linda turned back to me. "I have to go. But Mark, I swear we'll talk later." I nodded at her. I wasn't ready to fully process what had just happened, but something in her tone told me she really meant it. She turned back to our parents one last time. "Good luck with the house." And then she left. Just like that. Now it was just me and them. My mom's face crumpled. "Mark, please," she whispered, her voice barely above a breath. "We raised you. We love you. You can't just do this to us." I shook my head. "You did it to yourselves." And then I shut the door. For the next 3 days, my phone blew up. Calls, texts, voicemails, even emails begging me to reconsider. I didn't respond to a single one. Then, on the 4th day, something happened that I never saw coming. I got a phone call from the bank. "Mr. Carter," the woman said, "we're calling to verify a new mortgage payment arrangement set up under your account. It appears someone tried to reinstate automatic withdrawals using your old payment information. We just wanted to confirm that this was authorized." I sat up straight. "What?" she repeated, and my blood ran cold. My parents had been trying to steal money from my account. They'd used my old payment information, probably thinking I wouldn't notice. Probably hoping the bank would just assume it was a mistake and let it go through. They weren't just begging anymore. They were trying to force me to pay for their house. I gripped the phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. "Wait," I said, my voice coming out sharp. "You're telling me someone tried to resume my mortgage payments without my permission?" The woman on the phone hesitated. "Well, yes, but since it was flagged as a suspicious change, we wanted to verify it before we processed anything." I let out a slow breath. Jesus, my own parents. My own parents had just tried to steal from me. "Deny it," I said, permanently. "Take all my payment information off their account. I don't want my name anywhere near it." "Understood," she said. "Would you like to file a fraud report?" That made me pause. Fraud? That was what this was, wasn't it? I wanted to say yes. God, I wanted to, but something inside me told me to wait. Not because I wanted to protect them, but because this wasn't over. Not yet. "Not yet," I said, "but I want a record of this attempt in case it happens again." She agreed, and we ended the call. But I sat there seething. They really thought I was that stupid, that I'd just roll over and take it. I grabbed my keys and headed for the door. It was time for a visit. 20 minutes later, I pulled into my parents' driveway. Their house, the one I had paid for, looked as nice as ever. Manicured lawn, fresh paint, a cozy little porch, all paid for by the loser son they didn't even respect. I knocked. No answer. I knocked again, louder. Finally, my father opened the door. When he saw me, his face changed from shock to guilt. He knew why I was here. "Mark," he began, his voice full of fake warmth, "we were just about to call you." I didn't let him finish. "Were you really trying to resume my mortgage payments behind my back?" His expression flickered. "Well, son, that was just a misunderstanding. Don't lie." I pushed past him and into the house. My mother sat on the couch, avoiding eye contact. She already knew she was caught. "Mom," I said, "was it your idea or Dad's?" Silence. Then my mom's voice, barely above a whisper. "We had no choice." I laughed. "Oh, you had a choice. You just didn't like the one I gave you. So instead of asking me again, you decided to steal from me." "It wasn't stealing," my father snapped. "You've been paying for it for years. We just thought—" "You thought I was too stupid to notice," I cut in. "Just admit it. They didn't say anything. That told me all I needed to know. I took a deep breath, calming the storm in my chest. Okay, now that we're being honest, let me tell you how this is going to work. First, you're going to handle your own finances. Second, if you ever try to mess with my accounts again, I'm going to report you for fraud. And third, I exhaled, you're dead to me. My mother's head snapped up. Mark, don't say that. I mean it, I said. You lied to me, you stole from me, you cut me out of my own family, you're nothing to me now. She started to cry. My father's face turned red with anger, but I didn't care. I turned on my heel and walked out. I was done. But here's the unexpected part. As I was getting back into my car, Linda pulled up. She looked exhausted, like she had been driving fast. As soon as she saw me, she waved me down. What are you doing here? I asked her as she got out of the car. She looked me dead in the eyes and said something that made my blood run cold. Mark, Mom and Dad just called me. They said you threatened them and they're thinking about calling the police. I stared at Linda, barely able to process what she had just said. They said I threatened them? She nodded, looking as angry as I felt. Yes, Mom was crying on the phone, saying you barged in, screaming, making threats, and that they might have to call the police. They're afraid for their safety, Mark. I laughed. I couldn't help it. A deep, bitter, exhausted laugh. So let me get this straight, I said, still laughing. They steal from me. They lie to me. They treat me like garbage. And now that I'm finally standing up for myself, I'm the threat? Linda sighed and rubbed her temple. I didn't believe them, if that's what you're thinking. That's why I came here instead of freaking out. I thought you'd tell me the real story. I exhaled and shook my head. Of course, they're playing the victim. That's what they always do. Linda crossed her arms. So what really happened? I told her everything, the bank call, the attempted fraud, the confrontation, how I told them I was done. When I finished, Linda's face was unreadable. Then she muttered, I think I hate them. That caught me off guard. She let out a sharp breath. Mark, you know what Mom said when she called me? She said, Linda, honey, you're the only one we can count on now. We need you. I blinked. Are you serious? Dead serious. She didn't even sound sad about losing you, just inconvenienced. And that was it. That was the last straw. I pulled out my phone, opened my contacts, and pulled up my parents' numbers. Blocked. Then I opened a group chat with my cousin, my uncle, and a few friends who had been there for me on my birthday. New number soon. If you get a weird text from my parents, ignore it. Linda watched me. Are you really changing your number? Yep, I said, and blocking them everywhere. I'm done. She exhaled. Honestly, I might do the same. That surprised me. You, the golden child? She smiled sadly. Not anymore. They don't love us, Mark. They love what we can do for them. And the moment we stop being useful, they turn on us. I'm just now realizing how deep that goes. I watched her carefully. So what are you going to do? She let out a bitter laugh. First, I'm canceling the damn Disney trip. That actually made me grin. Then her face turned serious. But after that, I think I need a break from them. Maybe permanently. I nodded. If you ever need help dealing with them, don't call me. She actually laughed. Fair enough? We stood there for a moment, and for the first time in years, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time, free. I turned to my car. I'm done here. Linda nodded. Me too. And just like that, I drove away. I changed my number that night, deleted old emails, blocked them on every social media account. No more guilt, no more obligations, no more being used. It took me 40 years to realize that family isn't about blood. It's about who actually cares about you. And my parents? They never did.